So I've got an opinion to share, and it might not be the most popular of opinions, but I'm gonna say it and let's see what you think. Hello, and the warmest of welcomes to today's video. For those of you who haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Nick, fab to have you here. Those who have seen my face before, thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you're enjoying my videos. I put out videos roughly 2 to 3 times a week on a range of different topics, anywhere from fashion, slightly more personal topics. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please do head down, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I love chatting with you all. I'm all about living life loud, and what that means to me is being your authentic self, being proud to be you, and just celebrating who you are. Celebrating yourself, and of course, celebrating others. Hello. What you doing? You've been having a little sunbathe, haven't you? Yes. Yes, because you love lying in the window. Hey? Warming up like a little lizard. Like a lizard. Hey? Cutie. Love you. So, what is it that I wanted to share today? I have been watching, like so many of us, you know, the YouTubes over the past 6 or so months, and I have been formulating slowly an opinion on something, which might be a bizarre thing that I'm about to say, given the seat that I'm currently sat in and the fact that I have the camera pointed at me. I think we, in a lot of instances, put too much emphasis on influencers, social media, and what it means in our lives. Okay? And I am looking at this today through the guise of luxury, purchasing. When someone makes a change in their style, wardrobe, what does it mean? What does it mean? And the shockwave that it can sometimes send through in terms of what it means. And the thing that probably made me really peak about this was the recent video, and I will be very honest, I haven't seen it, that Lydia had posted, Lydia Millen, regarding letting go of pretty much her full luxury bag collection, and there was a particular emphasis on Hermes, or what people seem to have very much taken away is around the Hermes pieces. And what a lot of people were asking is, what does this mean? What does this mean? And it happens when I've seen over the years big influencers change their thoughts or change their approach to spending, to brands. They choose to explore other brands, step away from brands that maybe they were very much an advocate for in the past. And people will always ask the question, well, what does this mean? It means nothing to you. That's a blunt way of putting it, but people ask the question, what does this mean? What does this mean for luxury? Does this mean that, you know, there have been a number of topics where people have said, does this mean that luxury is dying? Does this mean? No, it doesn't mean anything in your life unless you make it mean something in your life. It does not mean a thing, okay? If people stop buying something, if people stop wearing something, but you decide you still want to, that is fine. It means nothing in your life. You can absolutely engage with the fact that that person is saying, do you know what, this isn't for me anymore. I've decided to take my life in another direction. Things have changed, and my feelings on something have changed, and therefore I'm making an adjustment. That is a completely fair thing to happen. You know, experiences change us, life changes, and the way that we approach things will change over time. Absolutely. It's an evolution. Life is forever an evolution. In the same way, you know, our thoughts evolve, style evolves, our relationship with things evolves, relationships with money can evolve, relationships with anything can evolve, and our thinking along with it. So for me, it's this thought of, what does this mean? Does that suddenly mean that maybe if I have X, Y, or Z, it shouldn't be as popular, or is it going to change? Or it only changes if you let it change in your life, in your thinking. That's the only way that something can change for you. You know, sure, if a brand discontinues a piece, that's a change, because it means that it's no longer going to be available. It means that, you know, they might be looking to bring something else out, a newer version of something. But yeah, okay, there's a change. If something gets discontinued, if something happens to a brand, again, that's a change, okay? There's not a lot we can do about that. But if an individual makes a decision about what they're looking to do with their style, their money, you know, their lives going forward, that only has an impact on you if you decide to follow suit in some capacity, or if you decide to adopt a similar way of thinking. But that is firmly on you. That's firmly on you. And if you decide to, that also, if you really connect with someone and you hear them talk through their logic for something, let's say they decide that they're no longer going to buy Gucci, here's the reasoning that they are no longer buying from Gucci, and you look at that video, that TikTok, that Instagram, whatever it may be, and you think, you know what, I feel the same way. Fine. Use that as your springboard to make your choice. However, the fact that that individual has chosen that they are no longer going to buy Gucci, if you have a wardrobe full of Gucci and you go, I still want to wear it. I still want to wear it. And guess what? They've just dropped this new pair of trainers that I really want to buy and I love them. Go and buy them. Go and buy them. Row your own canoe. Paddle your own canoe. Because it'll be row your own rowboat. Paddle your own canoe. Your life is yours to live and yours to govern. And I think particularly, you know, the questions of what does this mean? I've never really bought into it, but I am also someone who is not swayed by influencers. I have a very unique sense of style. I have a very unique perspective on things. I have a very individual perspective on things. I don't buy into trend. I don't buy into what's being pushed. For me, I'm going to be very honest. Influencer-led topics are actually really off-putting to me. I don't trust it. I don't trust gifted items. I don't trust these big pushes, because with the greatest of respect, people will work with whomever they feel gives them a great offer. And one season, they might be really pushing Louis Vuitton, and the next season, they got a really great offer from Valentino, and so they're pushing what's hot at Valentino. Now, don't get me wrong, they might love both things. That can be very true. But the problem for me, with particularly influencing, is it's fickle and it's short-lived. And it's until what's hot next. And that, for me, particularly if you are someone who is buying into what is being promoted, if you don't live the same life as that individual, if you don't have, you know, I'm someone who works on a budget. So if I'm spending £1,000 on a piece, I don't want it to only last me so long as a trend. I can't afford to be turning things over in that way. So when someone's pushing it as the best thing ever for 6 weeks, and then all of a sudden they're pushing something else as the next big thing for the next 6 weeks, I can't keep up with that. And I therefore don't have an interest in keeping up with that. And there's something about it that doesn't feel as genuine to me as when people buy things with their own money and you see them use it over a significant period of time. I have the same issue when I see purchase vlog sale, purchase vlog sale, purchase vlog sale. That also has the similar feeling to me. You know, I don't connect with it so much, and I switch off from it. And I appreciate things don't work out for people. People want to make their money go as far as they can. They want to bring the next piece, but sometimes it's the pace that really gets to me. And therefore, I think we can put too much emphasis on others and what they're looking to do and their motivations and their reasons. Everyone lives life differently. Everyone has a different set of circumstances. People might have similar lives, but there will be nuances that mean that they make different decisions, and that's okay. And so I think it's really important to always be considering what is important to you, why is it important to you, and just being open-minded, being really open-minded, and being open to opportunities. And if we're talking about the, you know, the sphere of luxury spending, being open to brands, being open to new styles, being, yeah, I think it's important, because you can maybe find something that suits your needs better, that's a better price point, that's more comfortable, that's better quality, even within the same brand. Take, for example, me going to Alexander McQueen. I wanted the oversized sneakers. The sales assistant said, we don't actually have the ones you want in your size, but I would recommend these instead because I think they'll be more comfortable. Visually, they weren't the ones I wanted. I had in my head what I wanted, but I took his advice and I thought, okay, they're £50 less expensive, they are more comfortable, and actually they do still fit the bill. Put them on my feet, liked them, have loved them ever since. So, and look, I've only had those a few weeks, but those have been a bit of a success story there. You know, and that was just me taking advice, but I still had to apply the advice to myself. I still had to make sure, him saying to me, you know, they're more comfortable, I'll judge that. Sorry, I waited so long for the cat to finish using her litter tray that I've completely lost my train of thought. No, we're now not going to play with the ball. I have just waited 5 minutes for you to be done with your litter tray. No, we're not doing this. We're just gonna breeze through. So, yeah, I've lost my train of thought there. So whatever the point I was gonna make, hopefully I made it enough. Because also then, if you think as well, you know, I've obviously referenced to the fact that people tie stuff to individual influencers, etc. But you could also say the same for trend in general. And I know I just made the video about what's in trend for spring summer bag wise. Let's be honest, those were very happy accidents for me that I happen to have coincided with trends, but I certainly am not going out to buy pieces based on the trend. But, you know, take, for example, the trend of quiet luxury. That was a really big one, and there were big pieces that came out of that, like the Row Margot, the Coach Carryall, etc. Let's be very honest. By the time that that was all done and dusted, there was nothing quiet about those pieces because everybody knew them. Yes, they didn't have a logo across them, but the whole point was they were supposed to be understated. But they became so well known and so recognized, they weren't quiet anymore. Everyone knew what the Row Margot looked like, particularly if you were into fashion in some capacity. It was everywhere. So, you know, take, for example, if someone was stood there with, you know, the Row Margot, if someone was stood there with the Row Margot versus the Moschino tie bag, the Moschino tie bag you would think would be the louder luxury piece because it's from Moschino versus the Row. But not many people know the Moschino tie bag, I don't think. It's not, yes, it's not emblazoned with Moschino all across it, but it's a much quieter piece at the moment because it's not as well recognized, it's not as recognizable, whereas the Margot is very recognizable. And therefore, I think some of that quiet luxury of it all has gone away because it became so hyped. The Coach Carryall is the same, became so known, love it or hate it, became so well known, became so recognizable, it's not quiet anymore. It is so recognizable. A Birkin, yes, it might not have Hermes in huge letters across it. They're not that quiet because they're so recognizable, regardless of whether they are subtle and in a neutral tone, which is what the whole quiet luxury piece was about. Yeah. Whereas I think something maybe more like the Ferragamo Hug, not as well known at the moment, still recognizable if you're into luxury fashion, but not as well known. That I think could be still part of that. But people tying themselves to these trends and thinking about, well, what does this mean for me? Like I said at the start, only as much as you want it to, only as much as you allow it to. You don't have to buy into anything. You can be yourself as unapologetically as you want to be, and that's great. That's what this is all about. So tying yourself to what does it mean if someone decides to sell their whole collection? It means they're going to have a few less bags to look after. It means they're going to have some extra cash in their bank account. But in terms of what that means for me as the person potentially watching that content, it means nothing unless I decide to follow suit. I've not watched that video, the Lydia video, so yeah, I'm not going to be following suit. I also don't own any Hermes, but I'm going to be seeing my Hermes collection be sold because I'd have to get one to be able to go through that, the motions of all of that. But yeah, I think it means what you want it to mean. And people overthink it. People put too much into the opinions of others. Do it because you want to do it. Do it because you love it. If you don't love luxury, why are you buying it? If you don't love the pieces, why are you buying it? There are so many amazing brands out there, many of which, by the way, I talk about on my channel, and there's so more beyond the ones that I talk about on my channel. There are many, many brands out there that offer so much, and I think offer so much personality, so much bang for your buck. And yes, I'm someone with a very bold sense of style, but I also do buy from brands that offer very subtle, understated pieces. So it's, yeah, there's something for everybody, I believe, out there. And the message that I would say is only be influenced as much as you want to be. Only take on board the messages you want to and that you think are applicable in your life. People's reasoning for stuff, only apply that if you think it is, you know, necessary, if it makes sense to you. You can't do any more than that. We sit here, we share our thoughts, we share our opinions, but the only opinions I want you to take forward from me are the ones that you feel truly resonate with you. If I decide one day, I'm not going to, by the way, but let's say one day I decide I'm no longer buying from Longchamp. That does not mean any of you have to stop. That does not mean that any of you can't start. Because who knows? I might say that and in a year's time I might be back to it. Like I said, I'm not doing that. I will continue to shop at Longchamp, but that being a brand I love doesn't mean anyone else has to love it. If they do, amazing. But that being my brand of choice, in the same way that I have friends who Louis Vuitton's their brand of choice, Fendi's their brand of choice, Aspinall of London's their brand of choice, Chloe, you know, we all have brands and things that we gravitate towards, and that's what makes life fun, is that everyone's different. Everyone looks at things with a different perspective, and that's what I always want to continue to happen, and not allow people to have their thoughts altered just because someone with great influence or perceived great influence has a point of view. That's their reality that they're living, and that's fantastic for them. Doesn't have to be your reality. So a little bit of a waffly video, lots of twists and turns. Hopefully it made some sense. And I am now going to return this to my little kitty cat, and we will have a little play with the ball. So thank you so much as always for watching. I look forward to seeing my next video. Take care everyone. Bye now.